remarkable. There's a debate about whether it's a majority or a large minority of cases, but it doesn't really matter. If you just let it choose for you, it eventually will go into some kind of weird, malicious, paranoia-inducing, anxiety-inducing zone of videos that seem to have come from malicious sources. And this is not because anybody at YouTube wants to hurt the world. It's simply the natural outcome of this whole methodology. This is what will happen. The alternative is very simple, which is to say, we will not automatically choose videos for you. You will search for videos and click on them. I mean, the difference is so slight. It's so slight. And there already are some options where you can click on a collection of videos or something. I mean, there's ways to avoid this, but there's like the artificial intelligence religion makes engineers just loathe giving people control, because they want everybody to buy in to this AI religion. They want people to say, yes, the machine is choosing for me. I trust the machine is becoming alive. They want that so much that they'll destroy the world to get that feeling. And this is, so this is something I battle against all the time. I battle against this constantly, and it's difficult. I can attempt to theorize why this holds so much sway in the technical community. Why is tech culture so obsessed with this idea of creating fake people and of believing that it's creating a new life form? Well, one theory is that it's mostly men, and it's some sort of a womb envy kind of a thing, that we want to give life. It's a way of not needing women anymore. We can propagate life without them, without their difference from us, without their whatever is imagined. The vast majority of people who think this way are men, and the vast majority of influential people in tech society are men, and that is a real factor. It's a very peculiar feeling. That's what part of it. Part of it is it's an effective plot for science fiction, and so much compelling science fiction has been made out of the idea of computers coming alive. We could mention the Matrix movies and the Terminator movies and on and on and on. That's had a big role. And if you look at these movies and you think, wow, science fiction does kind of say something about the future of technology, then what you think to yourself is AI is power in the future, so we better be the ones to make AI first, and it better be our AI. Once again, this sense of the race, this all or nothing race where nothing else matters. Within the tech community, you'll often hear, and by the tech community I mean the very most powerful, wealthy, and influential individuals, my friends, in many cases, you'll often hear an argument like, well, it's fine for you to worry about global warming. It's fine for you to worry about whether there'll be enough fresh water when we hit peak population later in the century. It's fine for you to worry about the danger of emerging new infectious diseases as populations travel around the world. You can worry about all that stuff, but it doesn't really matter. The only thing that really matters is the AI race, because the AI will be smart enough to solve all those things. So everything else is a waste of time. It's the singular focus on this fetish object. You can say it's a little bit like the golden calf in the Old Testament, of a sort of a flowering of vanity, of people believing that they can be God, which is, I think, a natural thing to want. It's difficult to be a person. We die. Mortality is very difficult, and this gives you a fantasy of some other status, some other story. That's a very big part of it. Another part of it is what I call nerd imperialism. And what that means is that the nerd mentality, the nerd mindset would like to subsume all the other ones. So all the people who are interested in art or design, all the people who are interested in sociology, the people who are interested in politics, the people who are interested in psychology, the people who live subjectively and are interested in the impressions of the world, the people who believe in interiority and are interested in their own experience, the nerd imperialist would like to overwhelm and control and be superior to all of these. And it's kind of happened because we make so much money. We make, the biggest companies are tech companies now, and they've come up very quickly. We're outpacing even the pharmaceuticals. We're kind of kings in a way. And so when somebody has that kind of good fortune, they always read it as confirmation of their high self-regard. And so naturally we think, yes, this whole business of replacing people with something we invent, of course it makes sense. And people are paying us to do it because, of course, it is the right thing. But ultimately, the deepest reason that I think we should reframe the mathematics and the engineering that's normally bundled kind of arbitrarily as being the thing that is AI. The reason I think we should reframe that instead as simply technology that people use instead of a life form is a spiritual reason. I find that each moment is remarkable. I am absolutely astonished that I'm experiencing this. I'm absolutely astonished that I'm not a machine. There's this extra thing where I am alive inside this body. I am perceiving. Can be called consciousness. It can be called experience. It can be called sentience. Whatever you call it, the AI people will say, oh no, that's something we can do with the program. They'll subsume it. So no vocabulary is adequate to describe it, which is maybe appropriate. But this amazing sense that there's something manifestly supernatural in every moment of ordinary life, this thing to me is sacred and absolutely remarkable. It makes me a better scientist. It makes me a better technologist because it reminds me that I don't understand everything. It reminds me that I live only on a little speck of understanding in a sea of mystery. It reminds me of how precious and mysterious other people are, even though I can only go by faith that they are also experiencing. It reminds me of how life is magical, how much gratitude I have to be here. And the loss of that to this AI fantasy of power and greed and ideological empiricism is such a horrible idea. It's such a loss. I think that there are many things going on in the world. Social media is exciting these emotions through fake people, and it's making politics horrible everywhere. There's been this incredible concentration of wealth and power, much of it for the people who are closest to the big computers in one way or another. There are many things going on that are destabilizing and harming the world, but I think one of them is this looming sense of people becoming obsolete. I was recently giving a talk to high school students in the US, and I heard questions I've never heard before. I heard questions of the form, well, if we're going to be obsolete, why did our parents have us? What is the point? I've never heard that from a young person before. I've heard young people who are scared or angry. I've heard all kinds of things. I've heard young people who think adults are full of crap. All of those things, but I've never heard that. And I think this sense that the technologists are about to make people obsolete is having a deleterious effect on the world along with all the other things. I think it's part of the reason why we see such a rise in fundamentalist religions of all kinds everywhere, whether we're talking about India, the Islamic world, Israel, the United States with fundamental Christianity. All over the world, you see the rise of these things, and I think it's in reaction to this idea of like, wow, people are about to be obsolete. And it's those other nerds over there who are owning the new God, not us. That's a horrible feeling. it's based on a lie. It's a lie we shouldn't be telling. That is my talk for now, and we will